Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It is time for a review of the long-awaited 5th studio album by indie rock band Grizzly Bear. It's called Painted Ruins, and it's the follow-up to 2012's album Shields. Now, with this band, this is my first full-length studio album that I have ever heard by them. I unknowingly knew a few of their songs like 2 weeks thanks to car commercials, but I had never sat down and listened to a full album. And it's not like I get a ton of requests to talk about this band, unfortunately. It's just that I've heard a lot of praise thrown towards them in the community, a lot of reviewers like Pitchfork and other major publications, and even people I think like The Needle Drop have really liked this band in the past. I've just never taken the time to listen to them until now, and I am seeing the error of my ways. I am very caught off guard by this release. I am so happy that I checked it out on a whim, and this new record definitely is one of my favorite albums of the year so far. Painted Ruins definitely does tackle some new genres for them. I've gone back, listened to some of their older albums like Victimist and Shields, and I'm definitely seeing a little bit of a change here, but a progression in a very, very solid way. I would list this new album, Painted Ruins, as more of an art rock and indie rock piece rather than some of the folk tendencies that they had on some of their earlier stuff, mixed in with like the Baroque, pop, indie, and alternative flavor that they had cooking up on some of their earlier efforts. But like I said, take this review as you will. Some of you will discredit it because this is the first record that I ever heard from them. I say that that's absurd, but to anybody who will be saying in the comment section down below, has he even heard of this record? Just point them to this timestamp at the beginning of the video so they get the explanation. Painted Ruins is kind of a hauntingly beautiful record. From start to finish, there is not a bad song that I could single out here because they all have their strengths. Even the ones that I don't feel that I'm gonna come back to as much still have an allure to them that I can definitely respect. And on this album, I say kind of painful because we hear the lyrics, and there are a few moments that definitely stray from this, but we get themes of isolation and loneliness to a relationship falling apart and not doing anything about it on cuts like Neighbors. It's something where we really get a good sense of where Ed Drost was whenever he was writing a lot of this record, and they are much more collaborative now, I'm assuming, than they used to be because I'm seeing credits for the entire band writing these songs, and they do have two singers, Ed being, I would say, the primary one, especially on this record, but you also have Daniel Rawson doing a few of the leads and some of the backing vocals as well, and their voices together or apart are both very, very striking, and it's something that jumped off the page to me because they bring kind of an urgency to these tracks, and while I'm listening through, like I said, each moment has something that captivates you. There's such a full and lush sound to this album. It's just engrossing whenever you listen to it. You don't want to turn your attention to anything else because there is a spectacle going on in your eardrums. You hear everything from the synthesizers building up on Morning Sound, or the shrill of the guitars that come through on the closing track Sky Took Hold. That is just a skyrocket, but at the same time depressing because you can actually hear the pain in his voice despite the more upbeat contrasting instrumental on the tune. Losing All Sense definitely takes on more of, I would say, a traditional alternative approach, and I'm seeing how they influence other people in the music scene. Father John Misty, Young the Giant, those are two artists right there that I see being influenced by Grizzly Bear, and I'm not saying that they're ripping off the band here, I'm just saying that I can see inspiration, if not indirectly, maybe as homage, because they really appreciate what they're able to do, and I think that this track, Losing All Sense, is a prime example of where I hear that, and I'm like, now I see how they influence other people. They started around 2002, not adding in other members really until 2004, and their second album, and it's something that's really, really just hitting me. As I listen through their music, you can hear the beauty, you can hear the pain, but you can also hear some of the good times as well. And they have a lot of unrest with them. You can hear that coming out in the music, and I have to give a big, major kudos to their drummer, Christopher Bear. Yes, their drummer's last name is Bear, and the band Grizzly Bear. I know, it's fantastic. Seriously, Bear's drumming style is very bold here. He adds a lot of flavor and texture to these these moments, like on For Cypresses. I seriously do not think that that song would be anywhere near as good without the drumming technique that he uses here. It almost reminds me of like a marching band or a drum line, the way that he starts off the track, but it explodes into something a little bit more chaotic and off pace as the song gets into the halfway point. You can see him hard at work once again on Morning Sound, which is spelled like mourning as in somebody who is in mourning, sadness in a different period. But I would like to say that this album as a whole definitely kind of plays out like a morning record, like something that you would sit down, get your coffee to, get your day going. That's the overall vibe of this record. Definitely the aesthetic of it whenever I'm listening to the music. I could see myself in the morning turning this on to really just start my day, because not only is it the pain in the lyrics, it's also an instrumental that, like I said, kind of contrasts that, not starkly, but at the same time, just enough to give you a good balance. And it gets you thinking, it gets the gears turning, and it gets your morning going. And on this track, Morning Sound, I see this as being one where it's about concern. It's about looking at the political unrest and everything in the country, maybe outside of just who you are. It's more than introspection. It's a track that definitely comments on a lot more, and Bear is hard at work behind the drum kit as well. I like the guitars and even the synthesizers on this thing. Really catchy, one of the most enigmatic moments of this song in general, and a standout cut from the LP. It just goes to show you that this band do not need a ton of lyrics to make an entire 4-minute song work, and the best example that I'm seeing of that is track number 6, Aquarian. This is a moment that just riveted me, and it's something that only has maybe a handful of like 10 to 15 lines the entire song. It's mainly instrumental, and it builds up. It has such a big show to display and put on for us. And the drums, the guitars, the synth flare, just the dark tone of this one. It's ominous, and I could see this being the perfect fall song. And that is just around the corner. I'd love to play this driving around at night. It's one of those that really just opens your eyes with the musicality of it. And I would say the same thing for a lot of the tracks here. There's many different styles represented, from the almost jazz-leaning Glass Hillside to the closer that's much more rocking, Sky Took Hold, and the opening track, Wasted Acres. Although not a favorite of mine, I can still see the appeal to it, and I like the kind of lyrical tone and the tone that it has in general. It's almost a bit sarcastic as he asks, "Are you even listening?" Tension, attack, and release. These are two major keys that really make this album hone in and work, and I think that a major track that does that is the lead-off single, Three Rings. It understands that it's building, it understands that it needs to give that payoff, and it does so in the form of a synth and guitar combo that just sounds like ecstasy to the eardrum. Whether you're looking for something a bit slower like Systole, that is definitely an artistic move alongside Glass Hillside, or you're looking for something a bit more upbeat and focusing on the music, you have Aquarian and even Cutout, and the lead single, like I just mentioned, Three Rings. I really feel like there is something for everyone, and it is a very painful record if you actually start to get into the lyrics behind it. Sky Took Hold, especially that closing stanza there, and even Neighbors, where he's singing about the heartache that he feels because this person that he was with, he's no longer with them, and they are drifting apart, and they're becoming neighbors, supposedly, or else kind of moving into different areas of their life. It's like no one will pick up the phone to make the move. We could see each other every day, but we don't do so. We don't take advantage of that because we know this is falling apart. This is a really, really surprising record for me. I'm so happy, like I said, that I listened to this. Overall, for me, I think there's going to be a very strong replay factor. I can't wait until fall and the leaves start to come around and I start to listen to a record like this, because I feel like that's when something like this really sinks in for me. Not that it's not right now, but I could just see it being even more painfully beautiful. This new Grizzly Bear is getting a 4.5 out of 5 from me. Thanks so much for tuning into my Grizzly Bear review. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave a like on the video if you would like to see more indie reviews like this. I'm planning on covering the Everything record, hopefully within the next day or two, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And if you're able to, please support ARTV by either donating on Patreon, it's the top link in the description down below, or else watching ads on TAD. You can grab the free app TAD in the second link in the description down below. All you have to do for TAD, watch some ads. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes to actually earn 500 TADs. You can earn up to 500 a day, and every 500 $100 that you earn is 50 cents in a real-life donation. So think about it. If you did that every day in a month, you would actually end up donating $15 a month, which is absolutely insane. Thank you so much to everybody who's been supporting on TAD already, taking time out of their schedules to watch ads for me. All you have to do to get a shout out in a video for supporting is get yourself to 500 TADs and show yourself transferring that over to ARTV. Tweet it to me at ARTV Reviews, and you could get a screenshot like some of these people are about to do. Thank you so much to Black Dog, to Chris Faith, and of course to Adam. Thank you so much for doing that, for taking the advice of me and a video and then going to the trouble of downloading the app and everything like that. And then we have one final one who shall remain nameless. Thank you so much to everybody who's been supporting. Let's cut to the outro. You can go directly to my Patreon page by clicking that annotation right there in the corner. You can see another indie review right over here, or another recent video that I think you might enjoy. Just spoiler alert, it's the brand new album, or all of my socials are in the description. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.